Good day, everyone. I hope you all had a super Sunday. My Sunday was super as well. Alright, so my day started off technically right around midnight with the second game of Mafia that we played. So if you don't know the context surrounding why I'm playing Mafia or anything like that, go ahead and check out yesterday's video. I played Mafia at a friend's house, kind of had a little bit get-together that turned into some Mafia, and I already described the first game we played. We started playing right around 11, maybe even a little later than that, I'm not sure exactly when it was, but the game ended right around midnight, so I decided, since I had so much to talk about yesterday, that I'd go ahead and carry over two of the Mafia vlogs into today, so that I have enough to talk about for this day as well, because I was running out of time on the previous vlog anyways. So I'll tell you about my two Mafia games that we played after midnight, so technically today on Sunday, and then I'll tell you about the rest of my day. So, February 14th is upon us. Valentine's Day for so many, never ever quite been really Valentine's Day for me. That is the case yet again this year, which is fine. Don't want to get into it really. Just eagerly look forward to the day, to the year when I do celebrate Valentine's Day, because that's something to look forward to, and I'll continue to look forward to it. Mafia. Mafia game number 2 that day, in this session. This game was moderated by Jesse. And let's see, I'm trying to remember the context around that. He did not let us know how many Mafia there were. He did not let us know anything else specifically. And there was no reveals. We had a few of the players that were new players in the first game leave and not be in the second game or third games. And I think like one person joined us. I don't remember if that was that game or the other game. At any rate, that was my phone making a noise. At any rate, we played, and I was a cop in this particular game. So, and I was the only cop. There was only one cop, and I was the cop. So what happened was, we get started, we go into the night cycle, Mafia kills someone, I'm asked to investigate, I wake up, find out I'm the only cop, which is kind of like, I don't have a lot of wiggle room. I immediately choose someone to investigate. The person I choose is guilty. And so I'm trying to figure out how to present this information, and it kind of falls into my lap in the form of this person being aggressive. And so I'm looking for my chance to roll into the fact that I think she's Mafia. And so someone goes after another player, and she jumps on board with that as well. And I think it's hard to tell that early, particularly with this particular player. It's hard to tell. He's hard to read. But there were two people were going after, and they were both like seemingly really, really, really on the same page. And I know it's kind of an obvious thing that hopefully experienced players, like one of them is, wouldn't make that mistake as far as being that blatant. But I was still very, very weary of it. So I wound up being wrong, but I found that out the next night. So I tried, and I think it was successful. Yeah, I tried successfully to get everyone to go after her. I wound up having to come out as the cop to make it happen completely. Her defense was that she was the cop, a nice try, but it was pretty clear attempts just to throw everyone off, and not really the fact that she was the cop. Things like she didn't say she was framed indicated that she was in fact Mafia, because if she was innocent, she would have been one of the things she thought of, like, I don't know if there's a framer, but I must have been framed. There has to be a framer or something like that. And there was, in fact, a framer in that game, I believe. At any rate, so we lynched her, we went to sleep. Second person I investigated was the person, but fourth, I found out she was innocent. And Mafia didn't play it very smart because I laid that out to everyone. I'm like, I think it's you, and I think it might be you also. So usually a smart group of Mafia would keep that person alive as a suspect to hopefully throw everyone off their trail. Not what happened, though. I investigated her, and she was killed by the Mafia. The next night, I investigated Heather, Jesse's wife Heather. She was killed by the Mafia. So, my investigations weren't going too well after that first one. And I think it came down to... I don't remember the outcome, honestly. I was the cop, and I needed the nurse to continue to save me. That's what it was. And something that happened on one of the morning's first thing made me think our host that evening was, in fact, the nurse. And so he said something, and I'm just like, okay, I think he's a nurse. So I went completely all in, trusting him and everything. Turned out he was on my side. He was just a normal townsperson, though. It turned out Jesse's wife, Heather, was the nurse. And so she died. I thought I still had the nurse alive, but the nurse is, in fact, dead. They finally went after me successfully and killed me. I think I took another Mafia out with me, though. It's hard to say. It came down to the three of us going after like two people that were left, and so it wound up being both of those people were Mafia. So we took one out. I did investigate. I found him guilty, and that was my last act. I died right after that. But through a process of elimination, it left one person who was the first person that the Mafia that I found out tried to get rid of. So he's obviously in the clear because she did that. And the person I thought was a nurse, and a new player who I thought seemed very genuine in her response, but turned out she was Mafia. And so the process of elimination, the one guy knew he was innocent, so it had to be her. It could have been him, as far as I knew, but obviously in his mindset, since I had just been killed, it came down to convincing the other player to go after her. And he did that, and luckily they were right, and town wins. It was close, the final three it came down to. So that was that game. Good game. The next game is a little bit weird. Our host decides to be the moderator in this particular game, and he won't take any other suggestions from anyone. And so I'm given a Mafia card. I'm a Mafia, just a regular vanilla Mafia is my role. And I kind of open my mouth a little too much and kind of step in it. To me, it made sense, and I legitimized everything as something I would say if I was town. But everyone else took it as I'm trying too hard, and that's me being Mafia. So, and I was Mafia, so I guess I was trying too hard. I don't know. So the very first night, we decided to kill one person. This person was the person who was the nurse who we turned into Mafia in the first game. See yesterday's video about that. And then the one who was Mafia that I investigated first the next night. So we decided to make her our first victim. And so we try to kill her. We wake up, nobody died. Batman didn't strike. There was a Batman, but Batman didn't strike. And the nurse saved whoever the Mafia went after. Well, that's pretty much a clear indication that that person the Mafia went after is a nurse. There's a chance the nurse could have saved a random person. The odds of them randomly choosing to save the same person that we save is pretty slim, I guess, but it's possible. So I come out with the idea that the Mafia now knows who the nurse is. So shouldn't we come forward and just make it so everyone knows who the nurse is, so we're not mislynching or attacking, the cops don't have to investigate that person because they are the nurse. It really was no benefit to the Mafia to share that information or not, and so to me it made sense. But I was completely convinced that she was, in fact, the nurse, which wound up being true, but there was enough doubt there to where they're saying that confirms or denies whether or not she is, in fact, that person is, in fact, the nurse or not. And so it confirms to the Mafia whether or not they actually did kill the nurse or not, basically. Because I was proposing, if the nurse did in fact save themselves, then they should come forward as the nurse, and then we would know she was a nurse, that's who they went after. Then Mafia would know not more than the town as far as who the nurse is. And the counter argument, which I was completely missing, and this was used against me, was that by not coming forward, you tell them, the Mafia, that that's not the nurse. After all, that is not the nurse. And then they're swinging at the nurse again. So really, it wasn't a positive or negative for anyone but me, and my argument gave credibility to what happened next. What happened next was, on the second night, I was investigated by the cops. Actually, in the first game, I was actually investigated by the cops as well, but for some reason they didn't come after me when they found out I was Mafia. And it was a lucky Batman strike that killed me. Again, see yesterday's video for that game's details. In this case, it was Jesse's wife, Heather. She was one of the cops. And I believe the other cop was taken out by the Mafia. No, the other cop was taken out wrongly. So what happened was, this is before I get taken out. We make a decision to kill this one person. The moderator points, from my point of view, to that same person that we were indicating. But then, in the morning, he announces that not that person, but the person sitting next to him was in fact killed. And we didn't want that, because I thought that was a better play, but I don't want to hide how experienced, I'm trying to hide how experienced the Mafia might be by taking out a random person as opposed to a more experienced person. So he goes and he kills this person, and we're not revealing roles, so we don't know who he is. But then, during that day cycle, it turns out during that night, the cops investigated me, found me out. And Heather used what I said the first day against me as ammunition to get everyone to lynch me. And I tried, but I couldn't talk my way out of it, and I was taken out. So during the next night cycle, the guy who was killed wrongfully came, and he was mouthing to me, he's like, "Who are you?" I'm the cop. What were you? And I didn't tell him anything, but I was like, luckily, the moderator happened to kill a cop for us instead of a random townsperson. We lucked out there. But I was dead, so whatever. This happened, that happened. I'm trying to remember how everything wrapped up. It was the last game we played. But, let's see. Mafia struck, took out the cop, I think, at one point. Yeah, it wound up coming down to the nurse and a couple of Mafia and another townsperson. No, I think we came down to one Mafia. There's one Mafia left standing. That's right, at that point. I'm trying to remember who the other Mafia were. It was that person, and myself, yeah. So it came down to two town and a Mafia. And the nurse had to say the right person in order for it to work. The nurse did not say the right person. The wrong person fell, and I believe, I probably remember this wrong, honestly, I'm not exactly sure who won this game, but I believe that happened, and so the town was able to find the Mafia, and the town won, I believe. So that was the game I lost. I won as Mafia, I won as town, even though I died both of those times. In the third game I died as well, So none of the games did I make it till the end, but my team did not win the third game. That's the way it played out. So then I went home, rode home with Jesse and Heather. They brought me home, and I basically just went straight to bed. Got up in the morning, did not make it to church, unfortunately. And then family went and had lunch as a whole. We went to Applebee's. Tried something. Some of it was alright, some of it wasn't. I know what not to order if I go back there. Came home, chilled for a little while. Checked out the new layout in our family room. We got rid of some furniture, which is a good thing. And so I just went over there to see it. Watched a couple shows that were taped over there that I don't tape over here usually. And then, yeah, came back here, got ready, and went to church for Think Orange. Think Orange went off without a hitch for the most part. We were looking at Ecclesiastes 4:9, talking about how two is better than one. Two people working together, help each other, type of thing. We had some time of prayer. We prayed over someone who was having some physical issues. And then we didn't really have time to go outside for games. So I teased what I'm going to do next week, which is three-legged races. And so I paired off a couple of the kids and let them walk around, just practice three-legged race, or being three-legged. And one of them had a lot of trouble, wouldn't keep hugging up against each other to make it so you are one body, and they sort of flopping around like ridiculous because they weren't working together. And the other one found their stride and just started walking normally. It was pretty interesting to see the two different reactions like that. So, but it worked, I guess. Yeah. Came home, watched some YouTube videos, did this, filmed yesterday's clip and then today's clip. I'm going to close it out here. It's another kind of long one about Mafia. Sorry if you're not interested in that kind of thing, but that is what I presented you with. So, yeah. Good night, everyone. Tomorrow I start at the new branch, and I'm excited about that. I'm not excited about the drive. Gotta get up a little earlier because of that, so I wanted to make sure I get all this taken care of early enough. So, good night, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow.